Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Chris and I am Matt, and we are continuing our 6 Wins Best Male Actor bracket. We're going to go through a couple matchups in this video. We're going to start off with this one, the number 1 seed Jack Nicholson versus the number 16 seed Charlie Sheen. What were your initial thoughts on this one?
Man, well, we were talking a little bit about, before we push record, about Sheen, how he's kind of become more well-known for his like interviews and anecdotes when he was going through the winning phase.
Tiger Blood.
That was hilarious. But even before all that, I was never a big 2.5 Men fan, but I was a big Major League and Major League 2 fan. So I think that's why Sheen ended up on the bracket. But Nicholson, I mean, I don't know if we're ever going to see a 16 beat a 1. Nicholson's just a freaking legend, icon, timeless, as we like to say here at 6 Wins, even though I don't know what it means. From The Shining and before, what was the one? It wasn't A Clockwork Orange. I think it was a different Kubrick film.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes.
Seen that one?
Nicholson, and and he's still doing it. And even though I think the only time I've ever hated on Nicholson was when the Pistons played the Lakers in the finals in 2003-2004.
Big Lakers.
When we have Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey, Rip, Tayshaun, and we beat them in 5. That was the only time I've ever been like, F off Nicholson. But big fan, and my prediction and my hope, Nicholson moves on.
Yeah, and this one ended up not being that close. Yeah. Like you said, Sheen was kind of got a lot of popularity for off-screen antics, Major League movies, 2.5 Men, a couple of earlier movies. I think he was sort of smaller roles in some of like Apocalypse Now and a couple of maybe like another like famous like war movie.
Platoon maybe.
I was gonna say Platoon,
Yeah.
But I was like, I think I'm gonna be wrong on that. But yeah, definitely Platoon. And then Jack Nicholson, one of our Jokers. I'm tracking our Joker stats. I'm tracking superhero stats. Jack Nicholson. I think he's gonna. I think based on that first round, he's going to go really far. So Jack Nicholson did go on.
Yeah.
No surprise. Our next matchup we're going to talk about here pretty quick was our number 6 seed, Kevin Spacey, versus a number 11 seed, Ben Kingsley. I'll kick off with my thoughts really quick. I don't know. Like, I've probably seen Ben. He's the actor. Ben Kingsley is the actor. You've probably seen it a lot, but never know who it is. He's one of those guys. So I couldn't think off the top of my head what he was in. And Spacey, I know him for some of his bigger roles. Was he in? Well, he was in The Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
And then he's in American Beauty.
Yeah,
I always get that and The Beautiful Mind confused. But he was in American Beauty. Those were some of his big ones early on that really set him off. I wasn't sure who I would go for because I had to kind of look back into Kingsley's back catalog. What were your thoughts, though?
So with the Kevin Spacey thing, I got a lot of messages about like, ooh, I went with Spacey, but it felt bad because of the personal stuff. Yeah. And I don't disagree. I think this is one of those situations where you got to kind of separate the art from the artist. Personally, what can you say about the accusations and the stuff that Kevin Spacey went through? Pretty gross stuff, if I say so myself. But trying as hard as I can to remain unbiased, put that stuff aside, focusing just on the acting. I love Spacey in House of Cards, playing Frank Underwood. Yeah. Such a good show. And then Kingsley, I remember we were not forced, but we watched Gandhi in like middle school. So Ben Kingsley is very versatile. He played Gandhi, and then he was in Schindler's List.
He's British, right?
I think so. Yeah, and it pains me to say I don't know a whole lot about Ben Kingsley. He's kind of kept quiet and just crushes all of his roles, and he's in, you definitely seen him and stuff. But just out of things that I've seen them in, knowingly, I had to go Kevin Spacey, and I think Kevin Spacey was hilarious in Horrible Bosses.
Oh,
I am always going to gravitate towards what comedies were they in. He played the boss. He played Jason Bateman's boss. It was just hilarious. He said, you can't run a marathon without putting some Band-Aids on your nipples, which is a really weird quote. But
it's very true, though. If you've ran a long time, if you're not wearing the right clothes, they chafe.
Oh, yeah. I got a little bit of that today.
Yeah.
I did the run and the swim today. We'll post that footage later. But anyways, my personal choice, Spacey.
And Spacey did win. If it's any solace for people that felt it was tricky to vote for Spacey, next round he'll go up against Morgan Freeman or Samuel L. Jackson, the winner of that. So I think then, it might be an easier choice to get Spacey knocked out if for personal reasons you have an issue. So we're going to talk about one more, though. We're going to talk about the number 5, Johnny Depp, versus the number 12, Dustin Hoffman. I'll also kick this off and go really quick because I think you have a little bit more you want to say. I'm a huge Johnny Depp fan. I love characters. I like character actors because it's always kind of what I enjoy seeing and what I enjoy like doing and like performing to make people laugh, like being a more out there character.
Yeah.
So of course, Captain Jack Sparrow. He got to play Willy Wonka. He's been in Edward Scissorhands, one of his earlier movies. He's just been in a ton of stuff. He's the Mad Hatter and Tim Burton's Alice. He's so many things. Like I could just list things. Dustin Hoffman, on the other hand, I think he's also in a lot of stuff that I don't realize it's Dustin Hoffman, but maybe one of his more famous roles was Rain Man, and things like that. So what were your thoughts? I would go Depp, but what about you?
Yeah, well, Hoffman's one of those, kind of like Spacey we just talked about. I think he had some accusations too. We don't need to get into because it's not important, but I keep coming back to that. Gotta kind of separate the art from the artist. Like, personal stuff aside, great actor. On top of Rain Man, I thought he was hilarious. Gonna go back to the comedies. Meet the Fockers. He played Ben Stiller's dad. Super funny. But I did have a little bit to say about Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
On top of the movies you brought up, one of my personal favorite films of all time, Blow.
Oh, yeah.
So good in Blow, and I would say, okay, I want to try to phrase this correctly. So, Blow features my favorite relationship between two characters of all time. And what I mean by that is Johnny Depp playing George Young and Ray Liotta playing his dad. Now, if you've ever seen the movie, all Ray Liotta wants to do is spend time with his son. And that stuff really gets to me. But Johnny Depp is so consumed and wrapped up in his lifestyle. He plays a drug dealer, like a big-time drug dealer, also based on a real character, real person, George Young. And Johnny Depp is always too busy for him. And there's like little scenes where like Johnny Depp gets out of jail and he's on a payphone right outside of the liquor store and he's setting up a deal, like fresh out of jail, trying to set up a deal with his buddy. And you see in the background Ray Liotta coming out of the store like really excited looking for George because he got a bottle of champagne to celebrate that he's out of jail now. And the mom is very like, wants to separate all ties with George because he's brought disgrace to the family by being a drug dealer. It's out, it's public. But all his dad wants to do is spend time with him. And it's just like, that stuff really gets to me. Then there's like the classic end scene where George finally gets caught. He's going to jail for pretty much the rest of his life. And he calls his dad. Or no, he doesn't call. He leaves a voice recording for his dad, who's like nearing the end of his life. And he's telling his dad like, he finally understands what his dad was trying to tell him the whole time. Like, money isn't real, and he wishes he had more time, and he wishes he had listened. And it's just like such a heart-wrenching time, and two fantastic actors, just at their best. And that is like I said, my favorite relationship between two characters in any movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
So.
Well, who won that matchup for Johnny Depp and Dustin Hoffman?
So this one is pretty close if I remember correctly, but Johnny Depp is moving on to round 2. So we talk about 6 wins. That's win number 1 for Johnny Depp. You need to have 6 wins to be crowned champion.
Yeah.